So, the championship being led by Piers Lehane. He was victorious in the first race of the season in France. The victory wasn't followed up, though, in Italy. Didn't quite manage to do that, but he still extended, really, his championship lead. Richard Verschoor is doing selected rounds this year, was the winner in Italy. So could we have a third different winner of the season, or will Piers get 2 out of 3 here and go into the final round with a very strong hold on the championship title? Here is the grid then for the senior race. The front row, Piers Lehane and Rinus van Kalmthout. Row 2, Dennis Mavlanov having his best weekend ever, and Patrick Pastorok. Row 3, John Stewart and Sam Marsh. Row 4, Jonathan Aberdeen and Luke Varley. Row 5 is Harry Webb and Martin Mortensen. Row 6, Nicky Kress and Javier Gonzalez. Row 7, Jakob Kadkak and Luke Wilhelms. Row 8, Glenn Van Paris and Brett Ward. Brett, can he do what Alex Quinn did in the juniors and come from the second chance heat all the way from the back of the pre-final and get on the podium? He might just be able to do it from 16th. Row 9, Adrian Renadan and Christopher Drayspring, who was fastest in the pre-final. Row 10, Victor Oberg and John Grams. Row 11, Burke Besler and Luke Montfort. Row 12, Shane Daly and Carlos Gil. Row 13, Julian Falchero and Daniel Machicek. Row 14, Petra Betzel and Max Aitken. And then row 15, Karol Dabski and Ed Brand. Ed Brand, winner here 3 years ago, second in the championship before the weekend started. He's down to 4th in the points now. And he's got an awful lot of work to do from 30th on the grid. But we've seen with great racecraft that he is able to come forward with all of his experience and skill. So the 16th row is Alessandro Trombelli, Mauricio van der Laan, 2 quick drivers that should make progress. Row 17, Jay Najjar, another quick driver that could come through, as is Nicola Pico, who starts 34th and last on the grid. And just to say that from the pre-final, Max Aitken and Karol Dabski at the end of the race were given 10-second penalties for unfair driving, which is perhaps why they're a bit further down the grid than we might have expected. So the senior final here at Wackersdorf about to get underway. Penultimate race of the weekend. And it's a 19-lapper. Pole position belongs to Piers Lehane. He gets the race underway. Tucking in behind him is Rinus van Kalmthout. So Rinus has already made sure that he's stuck in and got that second place sorted on the run down to turn 3. He feigns up the inside, but nobody's able to pass him, and he defends the position. And then there's a bit of carnage in the midfield. We've got 3-4 carts off onto the infield on the grass there. Some of them spin, some of them get going again, some of them are just delayed. But at the head of the pack, really the top 10, 15 drivers were not affected by any of that. And at the head of Adrian Renadan, I can see running out wide. And at the head of the field, the top 2 from the front row of the grid making their escape good as 3rd, 4th, 5th interchange and switch positions down into turn 9. And getting to the head of the next group of carts into 3rd place now is John Stewart, he of magnificent starts this weekend. So John Stewart with another cracker off the line, getting himself up into 3rd place. 4th position is Jonathan Aberdeen. He's also had a good start from 7th place, and it's nose to tail now onto the start of lap number 2 for the lead of the race. Is there going to be a change here down into turn 3? Close, but Rinus van Kalmthout waits. He's patient. He has a go on the way out of the corner, but Piers Lehane continues to lead down to the next step, and it's Lehane, van Kalmthout, Stewart, Sam Marsh is 4th, Harry Webb is up to 5th place, Martin Mortensen rounds out the top 6. Chris.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. We heard Rinus say on the grid that he had to try and get ahead of Piers Lehane from the start. Otherwise, he feared that Piers Lehane would canter off into the distance. Absolutely not. Rinus van Kalmthout is keeping him honest. He is right on his tail as they head into turn number 11. There is a change for the 4th position. Just diving up the inside there is, that must be Sam Marsh moving up, was it? I'm not sure because we haven't got the timing on the screen. But it is still Piers Lehane just about defending for his life at the moment from Van Kalmthout. John Stewart in 3rd position, so he has moved up. He said he was going to hopefully do that. He is. He's up to 3rd position. Yeah,
it was Marsh making the move. Harry Webb is through to 5th. Jakob Kadkak is up to 6th place as well. Jonathan Aberdeen, I think, has got a transponder issue actually. The screen corrects itself. So he's still 5th, but Marsh did get past him. Here are the top 2 then, on the way into the right-left flick through the chicane. Downhill now into the left-hander at turn number 9. It's still the Australian Piers Lehane looking for his 2nd victory of the season. But what can Rinus van Kalmthout do? And a change for 3rd is about to happen on the way into turn 9. And that's Sam Marsh gaining another place at the same corner. Follow me, he says. John Stewart. These 2 British drivers trying to work together. Jonathan Aberdeen is right behind them. There they are on your screen. 3rd, 4th, 5th over the line. Nose to tail, nose to tail. The top 2 are about half a second clear, maybe just less than that. as they go now thundering down towards turn number 3. And is there going to be a change up there? No. Piers Lehane is able to fend off Rinus van Kalmthout, but he's about as close as he could possibly be. And Chris, look at 3rd, 4th and 5th. I think they're beginning to catch on this lap.
Well, absolutely, but that's quite surprising considering they're fighting so hard with each other. I know that Sam Marsh said follow me, but we've seen that tactic so many times, and they've gone, not on your life, I'm trying to beat you, I'm not going to follow you. Side by side, heading through turn number 9, and I think we've got a change again there. Jonathan Aberdine's managed to move up into 4th position and just demote John Stewart down to 5th. So he's got to do the work all over again. He's going to need to go from that 5th position that he started back up through. But if anybody can do it, he's shown that he can. And I would say that top 5 have now suddenly become rather equidistant from each other. Piers Lehane may be starting to turn the screw.
Fastest lap of the race has just gone to Nicky Kress with a 51.695. Nicky up to 8th place now. But of the lead 6, it's Harry Webb who's the quickest of the leading group. So he's starting to close in as well. What can he do? The head of the pack is still Piers Lehane. Rinus van Kalmthout is following him through. And looking really competitive here is Sam Marsh in 3rd place. Jonathan Aberdine 4th. And then in 5th place, John Stewart after that terrific start. John's just at a 52.3. Harry Webb in 6th place has just done a 51.9. 4/10 of a second quicker. So it ain't going to be long before Harry Webb and I think probably Jakob Kadlak close up that gap to that lead bunch. And we're going to have possibly 8 of them together for the lead of the race. And we've still got 14 laps to go.
Harry Webb, as he came out of that penultimate turn, the hairpin turn number 11, absolutely bouncing in his seat in that car, trying to get the power down onto the tarmac, desperately trying to close in on the 5 carts that are ahead of him. Great that he sat there in 6th, but it's good to see that he's not settling for that at all, is he? I fear that the top 5 for a moment are just taking a breather. Do not think this is settled. Piers Lehane has not managed to pull away. I wondered whether he was going to start turning the screw. He has not. He cannot get rid of Rinus van Kalmthout, doing a fabulous job. First podium in Italy, and he's looking very good here in Germany.
And a change for second about to happen up at turn 11. And that's another great move from Sam Marsh at the inside this time of Rinus van Kalmthout. And again, he says, don't worry about it. I know I've just overtaken you, but follow me. I'm the man to follow at the moment because I'm going very quickly. And let's not let the Australian get away. So the Australian leads the British driver in seconds. The Ashes all over again this. Down towards the hairpin, there you go. We've got the Dutch driver next up, the South African. And then 2 more British drivers in the top 6. Fantastic stuff here. The seniors got a lot to live up to after that junior race, but they're doing a good job of it at the moment. The next group of 3 not having their own little battle as well. Nicky Kress is in the mix with that battle. And Jonathan Aberdine has now got the new fastest lap of the race. So the driver in 4th, a fraction quicker than those ahead. Having said that, he seems to be coming under a bit of pressure now from John Stewart. So the top 5 together, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Are all together as well. Harry Webb, Jakob Kadlak as well.
Harry Webb's just made a move there. He's managed to move up a position. He lost that, and I was trying to work out who it was that we'd seen a challenge in the back of the TV cameras, and he's just managed to make it back up again. So I think he should come through back in 6th position again, and it will have been Jakob Kadlak, I believe.
Yeah, they switched again, didn't they? So Harry Webb, the good move there. They're the top 5. Ooh, Kadlak's going to lose another place here. In fact, I think he's going to lose 2. Nicky Kress with the move. Luke Wilhelms, I think, will follow him, and they'll go up to 7th and 8th positions, respectively, after the move at turn 3. Woo! Do you think we'll get better racing at the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend? I very much doubt it. Out of the chicane there you go, Chris, and a little bit of sort of caginess about the top 5 at the moment. Nobody quite ready to make their move.
I think that one of the drivers that seems to be on a move, Nicky Kress.
Soon.
Oh yes, we have. So that's up into 3rd position. That will
Jonathan
have been
Aberdine.
Aberdine has got past Rinus van Kalmthout. He'd been holding on to that 2nd position so well. He's just been mugged at the moment, but he's not losing contact with them. So don't expect him to settle for that position. But just behind him is John Stewart, 265, as the 3 of them are joined together. So that is I just stopped as we got into the turn 3 to see that there was going to be a move. So out in front, Piers Lehane, Sam Marsh, but Jonathan Aberdeen, Rinus van Kalmthout, John Stewart are absolutely glued together. And it's amazing, Chris, how it doesn't necessarily drop them totally away from these lead 2, even though they're falling over themselves.
No, you're right, actually. They're overtaking with their brains, aren't they? That's absolutely right. John Stewart's got a good run coming out of the chicane, and he closes right up to fourth place, which is Rinus van Kalmthout now. So Rinus is out of the podium places as it stands and about to lose fourth. Yeah, John Stewart was threatening that and he pulls it off into turn 11. So Stewart getting van Kalmthout from second down to fifth now. It's still an excellent drive this, all weekend long from Rinus van Kalmthout. He's only 14. He's given a lot of years away to some of these drivers and a lot of experience. Harry Webb sixth. Maybe that inter battle that he's got there is just going to... Oh, change for the lead. Look at that. Sam Marsh has gone for it down into turn 3. Lehane has to concede. The British driver goes through. The Australian dad is second. The South African Jonathan Aberdeen is right on their tail in third place. John Stewart fourth. Rinus van Kalmthout in fifth. So the group's still tied together. A bit more of that. And the next group might be able to catch. And I think Harry Webb has lost a place, hasn't he? Yeah, he's seventh. Nicky Kress got through at the end of the last lap. So Nicky Kress is put, at times, the fastest laps of the race. And he hasn't got it at the moment, but... Nicky is potentially able to catch that top 5. We've still got 10 laps to go, including this one, so 9.5 laps, I suppose. That's plenty of time to bridge the gap, especially if the top 5 start to fight each other. So Sam Marsh will come around as our new race leader, Chris.
Absolutely, and a great performance by Sam. He certainly looked focused when I interviewed him on the grid there, but it seemed like it would almost be a little bit too much for Sam to do from back there in sixth position, but he's doing it.
Oh, there goes Piers Lehane. Got him back.
But they're still trying to go for it side by side. I think Sam Marsh might end up losing another place. He has. So who's that that's just jumped up there? That's Jonathan Aberdeen has actually moved up to second. This is how easy it is to just topsy-turvy all around. And when you consider that just behind them, the car in sixth position, Nicky Kress, started 11th. We heard him say that he was really believed that he's got the pace in the car to challenge, and he's doing exactly that, and he is moving himself up to trying to get in touching distance with these lead 5.
And
Sam Marsh
gets it back. Sam Marsh.
Sorry, Jonathan.
Getting his place back.
Sam Marsh.
Yeah, getting his second place back. He's been in every position in the top 3 on this lap, hasn't he, Sam Marsh? First, then he was third, now he's second again. So Lehane leads. Marsh is second. Aberdeen is third. Fourth, then is Van Kalmthout. Stewart is back to fifth to the back of the group. There's going to be a move surely here. There always is. This time it's for third place. Jonathan Aberdeen, I think, will lose 2 positions down to fifth, I reckon. John Stewart, Van Kalmthout will both get past him. So the South African back to fifth. I think it will be the case when they come back into our view. So here they come into the chicane. Yeah, Lehane leads. Marsh second. Third is Stewart. Fourth is Van Kalmthout. Yeah, Aberdeen did indeed lose 2 places. So he's down to fifth place. And not very far behind him at all is Nicky Kress, the Austrian driver. So we had a bit of bad luck for the Nicholas Scholl, the Austrian driver in juniors, but we've got another Austrian driver who's going the right direction this time in the seniors.
Wow, that was quite incredible that the 2 places that were lost by Jonathan Aberdeen, it wasn't just the 2 places, but it threw him so much offline that it absolutely compromised him, and he's under pressure by Nicky Kress. A great drive by Nicky Kress there. But it is still Piers Lehane by just over half a second from Sam Marsh now. John Stewart is then just a little bit further down the road. Rinus van Kalmthout is still there. Jonathan Aberdeen trying to make sure that he can keep Nicky Kress behind him. Harry Webb still sat there in 7th, but he's about another 3/4 of a second down the road.
Not too many drivers have been able to come through from the back of the field, but one of them that's done quite well is Mauricio van der Laan from the penultimate row from 32nd. He's got up to 16th place. He's had to do that all weekend long. Damage limitation for Maurizio, but it's been some great performances after a difficult start to the weekend on Friday. So we got the top 6 running through turn 11. Bit of a gap back to Harry Webb then in 7th, but this is still the performance of the year so far for CRG Harry Webb combination. Luke Wilhelms is up to 8th, Patrick Pasterok is 9th, and Jakob Kadklak rounds out the top 10.
Unfortunately, 210 Martin Mortensen was just creeping around there with clearly some issues with his car. It's such a shame because he had great confidence when I spoke to him on the grid, but he was looking down, fiddling with the engine. Something's not quite right there. Such a shame to see.
So into turn 5 they go, and for once the leader has got, if you can call it, a bit of breathing space. Breathing space being about 1 and 1.5 kart lengths, but certainly they're not exactly nose to tail at the moment. Piers Lehane leading them through, back into charge of this race. Sam Marsh in second. Last year and the year before I was always impressed with the attacking prowess of Piers Lehane, such a good overtaker. This year, what's impressed me most about him is the way he's just been able to soak up pressure. We saw it in the Winter Cup. People caught him up in terms of their lap times, and when we got to the final, and he had a queue of them up behind him for the entire race, and he still won it. And to an extent, he had some races like that at Salisbury as well, but he was just able to soak up the pressure and keep them behind and not make any mistakes. He's lost the lead once on this race, but he quickly got it back from Sam Marsh, and he's just put in a 51.652 though, and Sam Marsh was a half a tenth quicker. It's not much, but Sam Marsh has maybe just started to creep back after him now, and I think he's taking John Stewart with him.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Pierce Lehane is going to be under pressure here because the two behind are not having to defend in the slightest from each other or from anyone else at the moment.
Change for fourth. Jonathan Aberdeen down the inside into turn 9 to get past Rinus van Kalmthout. So the Dutch driver back to 5th place now, with 6th Nicky Kress right behind him as they go over the hump now down towards turn 12, Chris.
Yeah, I think I'm interested to see what Harry Webb's going to be able to do, because he's rather lonely in that 7th position, so he's going to be able to focus on himself, his lines, the kart. Is he going to start closing them down? Lap time wise, yeah, he's a bit faster, isn't he, than the drivers in front, so he may well start closing into that 6th position, Nicky Kress. But at the moment, it's still Pierce Lehane sat there, but not comfortably. He's not been able to take a big lead, has he, at any real stage this time? It might have been different drivers every time that's been putting him under pressure, but my goodness, they have been doing exactly that. This time, it's Sam Marsh bouncing in his car, trying to get as much traction down onto the tarmac as he possibly can. He's desperate to catch the Australian Pierce Lehane, and is he going to be able to do it lap time wise? He's lapping sort of about a 10th quicker on the last lap, so he's certainly trying to close him in. It was 0.358 when they came across the line was the gap. I don't think it's going to be that from what I saw a second ago. 0.358 last time, 0.328, so not a lot of difference there, I suppose, but he's still applying the pressure.
He's last 3 laps though, you're right, he's been a little bit quicker than Pierce Lehane, so he's clawed back sort of half a length. It's not much, there's 3 laps to go. He's definitely slightly the quicker of the two, but if you're only slightly quicker than Pierce Lehane, it's not going to be easy to get past the race leader. So Lehane leads, Marsh 2nd, Stewart 3rd, Aberdeen in 4th place, 5th is now Van Kalmthout, 6th is Nicky Kress, 7th Harry Webbs, 8th Luke Vilhelms, 9th Glenn Van Paris, Patrick Pasternak 10th. Jonathan Aberdeen still has the fastest lap of the race, and we've got wheel-to-wheel action here at the back of the lead group, and Rinus Van Kalmthout is the one that's overtaken. Nicky Kress then moves up to 5th place. So Nicky Kress going well here, the Austrian, up to 5th place, and look at these two going down the straight, absolutely nose to tail here. Jonathan Aberdeen is just ahead of them in that 3rd place. 4th place is 258. He goes through. So we got 2 laps to go. Pierce Lehane, 0.2 of a second now is his advantage. It's falling, it's reducing all the time here. And as they come into the left-hander at turn 4, Sam Marsh is almost with him now. Into the left-hander at turn 5. The top 2, I think you could say now, are together. 3rd is Stewart, 4th is Aberdeen. They're there, ready to pick up the pieces once the top 2 start scrapping. And it's on the cards here because Sam Marsh, having done all the work, he's got to have a go at some point soon.
And of course, don't forget that sat there in that 3rd position, John Stewart needs to be aware of the charging Jonathan Aberdeen. He's been backwards and forwards, but he's certainly forwards at the moment. He's closing rapidly onto the back of them. That's probably good news for these lead 2. Pierce Lehane from Sam Marsh as they're about to cross the line and start their final lap. It is backwards and forwards at different parts of this circuit. I think it's fair to say they got various strengths and weaknesses here, but Pierce Lehane just seems to be in control at the moment. But are we going to get a damn dare move at the last possible opportunity?
John Stewart was very, very defensive for his 3rd place on the way into turn 3. No changes at turns 3 or 4. No change at turn 5 here though, Chris. Pierce Lehane still just about hanging on to the lead. Sam Marsh shadowing him into the chicane for the final time. Pierce Lehane a length clear, but that is all. 5th is now caught the others as well. Nicky Kress is going to try and gain a position if he can this final lap, clipping the curbs up towards the best of the overtaking opportunities at turn 11. That doesn't happen though. Pierce Lehane casually glances over his shoulder. He goes over the roller down towards the right-hander, just a bit further back. Nicky Kress is trying to move on here to gain a place, but at the other end the flag comes out. The win for the 2nd time this year goes to Pierce Lehane. 2nd place to Sam Marsh. That was a brave effort. He gave that everything to close the gap. So close. John Stewart 3rd. Nicky Kress did sneak through on that final corner to get 4th place. Rinus Van Kalmthout followed him, and that means that Jonathan Aberdeen lost 2 positions, I'm afraid, on the very last corner of the race to go down to 6th place. Harry Webb 7th. That is definite progress this weekend. Looking ahead to next year, this year really is all about development now. And Denis Mavlinov, we didn't mention him, he dropped right down the order earlier on in the race and was bang out of luck. We lost Ed Brand as well. We lost Brett Ward early on. So there were some heavy casualties in that race. But there are the provisional results on screen. Pierce Lehane for Strawberry Racing by just under 0.2 of a second, winning from Dan Holland's Sam Marsh. 3rd for John Stewart, again another Strawberry Racing driver. 4th Nicky Kress for KSB. 5th place for Rinus van Kalmthout there. After it'll be slightly disappointed, I think, but then also it's a really good result when you look on the face of it. So he went backwards a little bit, but he kept fighting. He got a place back at the end, and Rinus, I think, we should be very pleased with what he's done this weekend because he's making great strides forward this year, and he'll still be well up in the top 5 of the championship. So 6th place to Jonathan Aberdeen, Harry Webb in 7th, Glenn Van Paris in 8th place, 9th place to Luke Wilhelms, 10th place to Jakob Kadkak, and then 11th was Javier Gonzalez, 12th Luke Montfort, 13th Berke Besler, 14th Karol Dabski, 15th place went to Victor Oberg, 16th was Alessandro Trombelli, 17th Mauricio van der Laan, 18th for Max Aitken, 19th was Nicola Pico, 20th Christopher Drayspring, 21st Shane Daly, 22nd Jane Ajar, 23rd John Grams, 24th Julian Falchero, and Petra Betzel rounded out the top 25. The fastest lap going to Jonathan Aberdeen. So provisionally, subject to all the post-rate checks, the points look like this now after round 3 of the championship. 3/4 distance, Piers Lehane now has a 22-point lead of the championship. So Piers Lehane extends his advantage, 244 points. Sam Marsh second on 222, and Rinus van Kalmthout third in the standings on 208 points. John Stewart fourth, Berke Besler fifth, and Harry Webb up to 6th place in the standings.